From a hobby into a full-time racing career, Thomas has gone through drastic changes in his life to give everything he could to drone racing world. As one of the best-known pilots, he is now planning to focus full-time on racing only. How did it happen though? My name is Lexi Jansen and welcome to FuturePlay. Today I have for you BMS Thomas!
Hello!
From Australia! How did you actually get to the MotoGP Sharjah?
Through Tokyo, actually. I just
Really?
came, yeah. So this year I'm competing in the Japan Drone League. It's a 7-race season. And so I came straight from Japan with Yuki FPV actually to Sharjah. So we've both participated in the MotoGP International Open. He's won one, I've won two, and came second in the third one I attended. So that's how we ended up here. But yeah, awesome to be out here. Awesome weather besides the flooding a little bit before, but...
Yeah, it's actually great. We're actually hiding in the shadows just behind the buildings, just so you guys know. It's pretty drastic outside.
I do like the sun in behind the buildings.
It's so much better, true. So what do you think about the track? Currently it's still like light and everything, so it's a little bit harder, but once LEDs are on,
it's a really fun course. I do wish they'd let us actually fly in it a bit more. The drones themselves have the capacity to do about 8 laps, but this is obviously a show, about 50-50 as much as it is a race. Yeah. So it's a 4-lap race, not a lot of track time, and most of the corners here, you might be getting to 200 degrees a second of movement. You're not really turning, except for the split S behind me. So you essentially get to do 4 practice turns every race, which isn't much. Especially for me as someone who doesn't have experience spec racing or doing 7-inch racing. A lot of people here obviously have street league, DRL experience, which are different but sort of more different sides of a similar coin. For me, this is my very first time trying something like this. I had 2 days of practice back in Australia. Just got to get comfortable, and I think the practice shows in a lot of the sweeps. I seem to be really good. I actually do make a bit of time up on some of the pilots, which I'm stoked with, but I'm losing a ton of time in that split S.
Yeah, actually I think the split S is the place in which most of the battles are happening, because the spec race is making all of the drones go with the same pace, so it's mostly like you guys in a group, and then on the split S sometimes it's like getting closer or farther away.
Yeah, and you can really see with the people who have experience on spec racing, especially that sort of 7-6-inch size, they make a ton of time there with that commitment just to turn it in, pull it up straight through, make a nice line, not fall into your wake. For me, the first few, I was just taking it like a pancake. It was pretty funny, but we're getting there eventually. Yuki's about the same as me as far as experienced spec racing. Hasn't done it before. Yeah. I think he's got DCL actually straight after this. But yeah, so we're sort of figuring it out as we go, keeping our ears out, listening to all the other tips and advice that people are throwing around. So it's been good.
That's good. How did you actually get into FPV?
My beginning in FPV begins way back in 2011. One of our friends, it's actually on YouTube, as I think Jay Balat YouTube is his channel. One of my dad's work friends. He was at an Australia Day slope soaring meet, so slope soaring planes, and there was someone there with a tricopter made out of wood, and it had like a crazy FPV system on it. He made some videos, told us about it. We thought he was crazy. A few months down the track, he actually built one, and then we got into it soon after for planes. And then around 2014, I actually started getting into the multi-rotors and the mini quads and racing. So.
And how did you start again racing? Because flying the drones FPV is one thing, you can fly just around and do really nice footage, but then racing is a way different thing. So how did you start with that?
Yeah, I mean, I've always loved racing for a start. So there were a few of the guys that did do racing in Melbourne, but it was sort of, you know, just friends calling up, meeting at a park, picking a few trees and racing. If you find, I think it's somewhere on YouTube, Team Drop Bear. That's like 2012 drone racing scene back in Melbourne. But yeah, those guys eventually went on to making the first 2 Melbourne multi-rotor meets in 2014. Get there eventually. And the second one of those actually had a race, and that sort of got me initially hooked. Then a few weeks after that, I got my first mini quad. Tail end of 2014, 2015, mini quad racing started to become a thing. End of 2015 is when the first Melbourne Multi-Rotor Club was formed. I did the first 2 practice events where they sort of tried to get the format and everything right. Got totally hooked and decided I wanted to try be a little bit competitive. And yeah, here we are.
And yeah, here we are in Sharjah, and you're straight from Japan, so wow, this is
yeah,
great.
it is actually probably worth mentioning because this is a multi-GP event. My start in sort of racing in a professional sense, it was the multi-GP IO in 2017, the very first one that actually got me my corporate sponsorship that allow me to, you know, keep pushing and make this a career. So it's actually awesome to have come so far from there to being here with my friends and having a good race.
Always. So actually, yeah, talking about sponsorships, how did it happen for you that you got the sponsorship? How do you actually fund all of the training and everything? Because it's not that you just come to the race and then it's done and your magic fingers do things. It requires a ton of training. So how do you keep up with it?
Oh yeah, I mean, for me, the next 2 years I really want to push as a full-time racer. So I've sort of been able to delegate a lot of the other parts of running the business out to other people. But before then, it was a combination as far as being able to have the time to train almost every day. Doing cinematics, development work, testing, basically anything and everything to do with drones, and obviously spending my spare time practicing. There is no real secret. I think if you're having fun and you're flying a lot, you're gonna get there eventually. As far as the sponsorship side of things go, obviously you have to be there. You have to be in the community, racing, hopefully producing results. That's how you're gonna get noticed. And then, yeah, in my case, it was a lot of good coincidence with the multi-GPIO, the right people being there at the right time, and then having the right connections to realize where I am and that maybe there was some opportunities, and then that led to me eventually landing Mission Foods.
Yeah, it's a really good one. Actually, I'm really jealous about this one.
It's very nice, it's very delicious.
It's delicious, it is. So yeah, last but not least, we're talking a lot of Machina sports in here, so like flying cars, drone racing and everything. Do you think it's going to be something that's more mainstream? What do you think is the future for the drone racing and for Machina sports in general?
I think it's always going to get more and more mainstream. You can see it with things like 3D printing and laser cutting, CNC routing. All these things that were previously inaccessible are becoming a lot more accessible, becoming a part of the schools. Obviously, with the drone tuition side of things and myself just being a bit of a presenter, you know, we go to schools and do a few STEM programs, so it's already becoming something that is becoming more normal. Obviously we're limited by weather and we're limited by regulations and rules depending on where you live, but I think it's only going to get up from here.
Yeah, okay, great. Thank you very much, Thomas. And I'm gonna leave all of the links to all of his stuff down below in the description box, so totally check it out. He has really cool stuff in there. And thank you very much. Thank you guys, and leave it a thumbs up. Yay! Bye!